up, everyone? Braves Ball 4 podcast here. I'm Gus Rico. Welcome to episode 41. Yep, 41. I'm glad we're all here. We're back. We took a little break last week. So now we're back at it. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got another great guest on our side. So it's going to be amazing. Some good content here. Always good content. So we can't wait to bring them on. But before we do that, I just want to shout out the wife and kids out there. Kids are at school. My dad, thank you for taking them. My mother-in-law taking care for the little guy. I know he's a handful, but thank you so much for doing that. To our players and coaches, our parents, thank you guys for all your hard work and dedication. To our tournament directors out there, you guys are doing a heck of a job putting some tournaments together for all our kids out there. Shout out to Bagger Sports in Santa Clarita. You guys, Norma, Hector, you guys do a great job out there for getting our uniforms out. So thank you guys so much. Parents, thank you for being patient with that. Some Braves updates. We started a running club. So if you guys want to come out and get some miles in your system, come out and run 3 to 5 miles or so, whatever you can do. You don't have to run. You can also walk. Just getting out and do what come join us. Our next one is March 30th, I want to say. March 30th at the Porter Ranch Trail. Looking forward to that one. Let's see. This weekend we have teams out in Arizona. A lot of teams in Arizona. Some just got back. Some are going. Some are already there. Some parents. So shout out to you guys and best of luck. Go represent well. USSSA, you guys are doing a great job out there. So we are looking forward to that. Like I said, the last 3 weeks we've taken teams to Arizona. About 9 teams have gone from the Braves program. So good luck to you guys out there. We have some teams out in Huntington Beach, perfect game as well. We got a Sunday league with Jeremy. So the rain is gone, hopefully, and now it's time for some baseball. It's baseball season, spring. All right, to my left, I got co-host Andy Lira.
Welcome back, episode 41. Excited to be back. Another great guest, man, and I don't know how we can keep getting, great guest after great guest, but we do somehow. We pull it together. Shout out to Gus for that. Shout out to PB for setting this one up, man. We appreciate it.
Paul Blair Jr.
Yes, sir. And if he had an episode with us too as well, so go in and check that out if you guys want to learn about Paul Blair. But yeah, we have another great guest, man. A great player, great coach. Not only was he a champion, playing in high school, coaching, and doing things like that, man. He made it to the big leagues as well. Played shortstop there. He's an all-star as well. Son's, D1 athletes. He won a CIF champion with Oaks Christian as a coach, 2022. I'm excited to get, to learn more about his story and to give us all his insight about baseball, man. Nonetheless, another great guest, Royce Clayton. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Good, Royce. Man. Thanks for doing this again, man. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Shout out to PB. I told PB we set it up like a couple weeks ago, and then I forgot about it, and then I hit him up at practice. I was like, "Yo, PB, what's up with Royce?" He's like, "Man, let me call him right now." I think he called you, and we're on our powwow. He passes me this phone. He's like, "Here, he wants to talk." I was like, "All right, let's do it." But again, man, thank you. This should be fun.
My pleasure.
Yeah, man. So. Let's do it. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, we all know a lot about it. But, I mean, there's to our guests out there. We have 189 subscribers, so I'm sure people will tune in later. People at work or at school. So, we get a lot of views on this. So a little bit about yourself, a little background.
From Inglewood, California. Grew up there playing Little League back in the days at Inglewood. Left there probably after my 3rd year, went to Ladera. And, really had some great experiences at Ladera Little League. We're one game away from the Little League World Series, had some great coaches, some great mentors. And, pretty much that started, to pave my way as far as falling in love with the sport of baseball, having a admiration for the shortstop position, and just all the people that were surrounding me at that time were influencers and, family dear to me to this day. So that's pretty much where it started. And excuse my dog, she's excited.
Good.
Pretty much paved the way for my career. But, Yeah, it all started in Inglewood, Ladera Heights, and I just kept the passion going. Uh, my father and mom were very big supporters of me and my brother, and just kind of getting off on a segue. My mom uh, was a big educator as well as my father, and wanted me to read up on history when it came to baseball.
Mhm.
And today is a somber day for me, and I kind of want to expand on this. Is She had me reading books about Jackie Robinson, which basically motivated my path to having the idea or the fortitude and having that example of having an African American break into the big leagues, which gave me the opportunity and knowing my history. And unfortunately, in the era that we're living in, the Pentagon had erased Jackie Robinson's history as a military veteran and all the contributions that he did to this great game in the United States, which I think is just disgusting.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
to have such a prominent American figure, and that I was so proud of, and gave me the opportunity to pursue my dreams and try to basically erase that history, is egregious. There's no reason for it, and literally, I'm disgusted to be an American today.
Mm.
No, I mean, I think that's yeah, it's crazy because he did a lot for the country. He did a lot for sports in general, not just for baseball. And I think that's where it's like we got to recognize that. We got to be able to accept it, you know. And I think that's the biggest thing now. And it's like, man, we got to recognize what everyone's done, especially him, what he's done for the group of for color, for the color group people, and whether it be Latino, African Americans, or whoever, that were minorities at those moments, being able to give them the opportunity, like yourself, to get out there and go pursue these dreams and know that it's not it's achievable. You know that you could do it, whether it be against all odds or not. And I think he did that for a lot of African Americans as well as other minorities. And I think it is discussing that they want to try to erase that and all go. But I mean, especially here in California, and I know in LA, it's his name is always huge. Is always one thing, and it's going to keep going. Whether they try to get rid of it or not, you can't get rid of what's happened and how
Yeah.
much he's changed for that. I think. But yeah, man, no, all right, we definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and an important thing is as young people or anybody, we have to start asking a question of why.
Mhm.
You're trying to change history, which is important to everything that we stand on. Without the knowledge of our past, and there is no future.
Mhm.
And to have the military try to erase not only Jackie Robinson's history, but the Tuskegee Airmen and other prominent Americans that contributed to this country and where we are today. It's just nonsensical.
Yeah.
First and foremost, what is going to be our history if we
Right.
eradicate those prominent individuals that paved the way and made so many positive things happen in this country? If we eradicate everybody that's of non-color, gender, ethnicity, then what do we have?
Right.
If you want to erase it all. As a matter of fact, since we're talking about baseball, did you know Ted Williams was Mexican?
Mm.
Mm-mm.
Ted Williams was born Mexican. His mother was from San Antonio. She's Mexican.
Uh huh.
Her parents are immigrants from Mexico. And the greatest hitter of all time is Mexican. So let's eradicate the fact that Ted Williams ever played baseball.
Yeah.
He was a military veteran as well. But why aren't we looking at that aspect?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just a lack of understanding. As a matter of fact, I looked it up, and one of the things that he regretted in later on in his life was the fact that he didn't represent the Mexican heritage during his career. So we have to understand that these things were so egregious that he had to deny his ancestry in order to have the opportunity to play Major League Baseball. But then men like Jackie Robinson, who couldn't just stand up one day and say, "Oh, I'm not black,"
Yeah.
represented for other nationalities to play this great game and understand the history of it. But when we get into certain things, one thing is acceptable. But if you're going to try to eradicate and erase everything, well, erase the fact that Ted Williams, the greatest hitter of all time, never played baseball.
Right. Man, that's deep
Yeah, no,
for sure.
that's.
We got to know our history. We got to do all kinds of history on this.
I didn't know about Ted Williams. I knew he was a great hitter, but I didn't know about
Yeah.
the
Ted
extra
Williams,
inches of it. You know.
Oh, what happened?
Oh,
We'll bring him back. There he is.
oh, there he is.
There he is. Can you hear us, Royce? I think we can't hear you. Get on mute. There you go. Can you hear us? Then we're about to go get a Ted Williams jersey.
For real, bro. Say what?
Custom one.
I just played him against MLB The Show. Ted Williams.
No, he can't hear you.
Try to unmute the thing and mute it up again from his end. It's not letting you.
Yep. Yep.
We can hear ourselves. Perfect.
Can you hear me, Royce? He says he can hear us. Mm-mm. Should we log out and log back in?
Yeah.
There you go.
there you
There you are.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
No,
You're
you're
good.
good.
Yeah.
So
So,
you were saying Ted
yeah,
Williams.
go ahead.
You were saying about Ted Williams.
Yeah. Like I said, it's so many
Yeah.
things that my father always said that baseball mirrors society.
Yeah.
So if you look at the history of America, baseball mirrors that history. And, when you look to the opportunities that segued through the Civil Rights Acts and other things, it brought those opportunities. And unfortunately, we're in a time where they're trying to disappropriately, in my opinion, disassociate and erase things that are prominent to not only the American history, but also baseball history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, the
crazy.
game has changed so much too. I mean, you
For
know
real.
that it's like it's not even fun to watch anymore. Sometimes I'm not gonna say all the time, but it's changed so much. But we got a question here. Did you grow up with Darryl Strawberry, Eric Davis at Harvard Park?
I did. That was a big part of my upbringing was going down to Harvard Park and as a high school kid picking up baseballs and they didn't know who I was and I would just go out there. I heard they were out there and I was, you know, those were my childhood heroes. So I'll go out there when I found out there at Harvard Park and just shag baseballs. And one day Eric Davis saw me and said, "Hey kid, you want to swing?" It was getting dark and I'll never forget it. He handed me one of his C271 bats and told me to start hitting off the tee. And, he's like, "Man, you got a nice swing," and allowed me to hang out with PB, George Henshaw, Chris Brown. The list goes on and on. And they said, "Hey, man, just make sure you keep coming back." And I didn't miss a day. So I was there every day and they adopted me as, part of their family. And I learned so much about not just the game of baseball, but life and how to be a big leaguer, how to carry yourself. And, fast forward, 3.5, 4 years later, I'm playing against these guys.
Man,
Like
that's
at a bigger stage, on a bigger
yeah.
stage with a lot more people there.
Life being full
Yeah.
circle.
Definitely not at Howard Park. Oh man,
But
that's
the
great.
program was something special. We talk about, the number of so many African American baseball players that were not, not just across the country, but were here from LA
Hmm.
that would assemble at that ballpark. And man, it's Bip Roberts,
Oh
Chili
wow,
Davis, Eddie Murray,
dang.
Shane Mack. I mean, the list goes on and on. And all these guys would come out and work out every offseason. And as a young kid, I was able to absorb the knowledge.
Uh
I obviously had nothing to say, but just tell them I got a chance to get drafted, I'm a high school guy, whatever. But um, just the impact it had and
yeah.
those days and so many prominent players in my community that I could point to just inspired me to keep going and say, hey man, I could do this, and aspire to see the cars they were driving, pulling up in Porsches and Benzes. I'm like, man, one day. So just to see that firsthand was highly impactful. Days I'll never forget. My dad coming out there and watching us work out, and they adopted us as a immediate family, and to this day, that's my family.
Damn, that's dope. That's awesome.
Yeah, and as a high school kid, understanding that you want to get to where they're at, and then you went out there and we're picking up baseballs, and I know sometimes everybody asks like why pick up baseballs is a waste of time. Well, picking up baseballs allowed you to be able to get close to those guys that can teach you, that can help you develop, and they weren't, as in a saying, too big to teach you or to take you in. And I think that's the biggest thing as well, is like, especially nowadays, you go and you're coaching or you're doing these things, and it's like any little moment like that can help a kid become a professional baseball player or a professional athlete. And it's just crazy to say how like much from then to now the community, and I think that's why we do so much and try to do so much, is because you just don't know the one moment, like right, him coming out to you and you're shagging baseballs, how that changed your life. And to us it could
Right.
be the same thing of us doing something like a, whether it be a running club or coaching, and being like, hey, from the other kid from the other team, be like, or our kid, be like, hey man, great job, dude. Like you're doing this and doing that. That can go a long way, and I think that's it's impactful. And to make sure that we're not bigger than the game, we're not bigger than anybody, and to give acknowledgement when it's there, and to see hard work. And I think those guys definitely probably saw you like, man, a kid out here just shagging baseballs, like he
For
must really
sure.
want it, must really love it. Let's see what he's about, and you took that opportunity and ran with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the love. As a coach, I would talk to young men and say, hey man, this may not be your thing, but you can learn a lot about life, about becoming a good man, period, to your family, to your friends, to your teammates here. But if you want to if you want to pursue this game, you have to have passion, and passion is that word. And you can find other passions in life, that's fine, but find a passion. It may not be baseball. It could be science. It could be engineering. It could be a number of things. But once you find that passion, everything else will follow. Because I know we're in a society where, a lot of attention is paid towards, what you accumulate, what you have. But if your focus is, hey, I just love what I do every single day, I'm blessed to do that, then all
Hmm.
those things come along with it. And that's the lesson I try to teach young kids, is that you know what, just find your passion in life. For me, it was baseball, and I'm very fortunate to still be able to live out my passion by coaching, instructing young men, and it's an honor and privilege to do that.
So we'll get back to your MLB career in a little bit, but you got into coaching. We coached against you a couple of times, and you know, I mean, how yeah, how was that? How was your experience? I mean, congratulations on your 22 CIF title. You got to share that with your boys. That was pretty
Yeah.
cool. I mean, we're all happy. I mean, PB kept those. Obviously, we were keeping tabs. It was always fun. It was always fun playing against you guys, man. There you are. Look at that.
Ah,
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I never won one as a high school player. I was in one championship, and unfortunately, we lost. So it was so special to even have some of my teammates show up for that game
Oh wow.
because they know how much it meant to us. And And the most touching thing I can say is my homie Tim Williams. Big shout out to Tim because we played Little League, and we've known each other for 40 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
His first thing he said to me is, "Man, we got one." I was like, "We?"
He's
Nah,
like,
but real talk, real talk. It was like, man, that's how much it meant to everybody. It's like,
yeah.
to finally get to that pinnacle,
Uh-huh.
to have a World Series ring and to do the things I did in my career. To be honest with you, I'm not just over exaggerating, but that moment was something I'll never forget, and
Yeah.
it's definitely up there with winning the World Series for sure.
Man.
Man,
That's
let's talk
cool.
about it though. Like, what would you say is the difference between those two journeys, or were they similar? Because coaching and playing, we all know it can be tough. Like a lot of players don't they try to coach the way they play the game, and not everyone reacts that way sometimes. And
Mhm.
sometimes it can rub people off the wrong way or whatever way. It just may not work. But then you do find those guys like those guys that like yourself play at a high level and coach at a high level and know the difference between coaching and playing and how to use that. So was it similar on those journeys, or would you say it was a little bit different?
Well, as a player, obviously you can impact the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my experience in the World Series was my last year in baseball, and I got to Boston in the second half of the season, and literally when I got there, I had a decision to make between going to the Yankees or Boston, and I chose Boston because I just thought they had a good chance to win in '07, and of course we did. But I'm in the office with Tito, and he's like, man, you're not going to play a lot, but your impact as far as your knowledge and what you bring to the ballpark every day is going to help like a Julio Lugo, Big Poppy, Manny, all these guys. And we're just happy to have you around. And at that point, I've been playing, playing, playing. But I had a
Mm-hmm.
chance to kind of sit back, watch the game develop, talk to guys about what I'm seeing because I've seen it through a different lens now. And I didn't go out there and play, but I was able to, talk to Coco and say, "Hey, Coco, don't forget your bunts. Look at this, tipping off pitches and certain things." And that kind of spurred me on to being on the mental side as far as coaching, trying to help young players. And even a couple years before that, I was basically grooming young shortstops. So um, one of the things that was provided to me through the experience of the program and other great players I was around that were veterans is at one point you're going to be in a leadership role, embrace it, and that's going to be your turn to pass it down. So that experience really gave me that feeling, and
Mm-hmm.
then as a coach, it just transferred from me, being in those situations to now, being the leader uh, of young men and helping them mold their futures.
Did you see yourself coaching high school baseball?
No.
Hey, Royce, I'm never gonna forget that game at Birmingham because I saw Quinson's bomb the other day against Harvard Westlake, the walk-off bomb. I had front row seats for that, and
Nice.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And he was 0 for the day, and it was second and third, 2 outs, and we put him on. You look over to our dugout, and you're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, really." I'm not throwing, he goes, he's 0 for the day. I was like, and like, I'm not throwing to that guy. Sure enough, we beat you guys with a line out to right field by the next guy. But yeah, that guy,
Right.
he's special, man.
Yeah, he's a special young man. Again, talking about relationships, Dimitri Young, when I took the job over at Oaks, I asked him to come over and coach with me. He was so adamant about, you know, helping out and, taking care of the hitting, that he wanted to handle the JVs. And, I was like, you can be with me, I'm trying to be selfish, but that's how that whole relationship worked out as far as um, the respect for,
Mhm.
Jeff Weaver, Dimitri Young, Joe Borchard. All these guys came over just to help out
Yeah,
off of my, relationships with them. And I just wanted to pass on as much knowledge, excluding myself, as possible and put together the best coaching staff for these young people And as high school coaches, it wasn't about the money.
No, definitely not.
And it's just such a blessing, and I feel so much gratitude from these former players that joined the coaching staff. And then you know obviously Dimitri was talking about Quentin, his nephew, and fast forward a couple years later, we had Quentin at Oaks Christian in the middle school,
Hmm.
and Dimitri got the head job at Camarillo. So I
Yeah,
just assume, okay, well,
just
I'm
transfer.
gonna lose Quentin.
Yeah, yeah.
But Dimitri's like, nah, he just needs to be
He's
with you, and
That's a cool
you
picture.
know that's just the way that whole situation worked out, and so blessed to have Quentin. His first 3 years at Oaks, and then I was really conflicted, as you guys get so attached, as you get
Yeah,
attached to these young men,
you do.
and I just kind of had to step aside and
Yeah,
have the tough conversation, letting all my former players know that, as much as I, love them and want
yeah.
to see them do well, I also have to, go see my kids play. I got, three Division I athletes I got to go travel around the country and see. And
Man,
I just didn't think I could have that energy and capacity
no.
to coach at the level I wanted to coach at. So I'm just proud, like a proud papa, to sit back and see Quentin elevating his status, and all the young players I had that we brought in, James Ladishaw, the
Yeah.
Carson Sheffer, and
Hmm.
all these kids are doing amazing things, and you feel part of it, but I don't take credit for it. These guys are doing their work and they're putting it in, and it was just an honor to have them under my tutelage for the time I had them.
I thought you were gonna say you're proud of Quentin elevating baseballs.
Man, I said, man, I could have used some of those home runs last year.
Well,
We all figured it out in time. It was we had some tough pitching around the league, and
yeah,
not just our league, but around baseball last year. A lot of seniors and good arms, and I think that helped in his maturation process. And I knew it was just a matter of time before he broke out with the summers he's had,
yeah.
and the confidence that he would gain from the experience of getting beat up a little bit, and to becoming a dominant player like I'm sure he's going to have be this year.
Oh, for sure.
How important would you say it is to go through those beat up moments, like as a player? Because it's. I think that's you got to eventually you're got to go through that. I mean, there's a lot of kids that see success really quick and they go through it, and then the one time they hit adversity, that they kind of don't know how to react. How would you say it would be important to kind of go through those lumps, those battles, at a young or at a good age like high school, to be able to get through that and then see them prosper and be like, you know what, he went through it all and he came out on top. Now he knows what it feels like.
It's everything. I mean, to this day, I do little things to create adversity. That's
Right.
like the kind of guys that were around me a couple years kind of figured it out. But I would create adversity because without the struggle, you're not getting better,
Yeah.
and you have to be able to embrace the struggle, know that you're going to get better through it. And that was a big part of my teaching, is like, man, you're going to struggle. This is a very difficult game. Life is hard. You're going to go through ups and downs. And one of my biggest points to that, I said, you pick up any success story that you want to read about, I don't care who it is on this planet, the
Hmm.
whole book is about the struggle.
Right.
Man,
The whole entire book is going to be about the struggles, the adversity, tough times. But in today's society, it's tough for young people because of social media, because everything that they look at thinks like, oh, this guy's doing great and everything's good. Everybody's life is fantastic.
Yeah.
It creates a false narrative for how not only the game is, but how life is.
yeah,
But that was one of the things I'd focus away from the baseball aspect, which was a large part of how I coached, was just to talk about, hey, we're going to struggle. And I want you to make mistakes going forward. So I don't care about you making errors. I don't care about you striking out. All these different things that happen through the course of the game. I just want you to learn something, be better from it, and not make the same quote unquote, which is not really a mistake, but just, try to be better from those experiences.
Facts.
yeah. I think that's especially like nowadays, right? That you see the all the good from the kids, but a lot of it is because they're scared to put their struggles out there just as much as their success.